Hello, BookTube. I had despaired that I would have no tag videos to do today. Earlier this morning, there were no new tags up for me to do, or that were interesting, or that I could do. So I looked for some older tags that I could perform tag necromancy on, and those didn't work out either for a number of reasons. Either I could not find the prompts, or they would involve a bit more work to pull down books for show and tell, or I've already done the tags and just don't quite remember them. So I wanted to make a video today, so I was thinking, okay, maybe I could go ahead and do my TBR for my back to school reading project that I'll be doing in August. And as I pulled down the books and looked at them and had them piled up here on my bed, I don't want to do that. There may be two of those books that I want to read, but the others I don't know. And that's perhaps a quick fire way to a bail. So I need to rethink what I want to do about my back to school reading project. Maybe I'll give myself some time today. But Steve Donahue saved the day because he did create a tag today, the Book Trek 2023 The Next Generation tag that he uploaded about 2 hours ago. So I'm going to be doing that today. Actually already filmed a version of this video, but I'm guessing there were some issues with it or something, I don't know. So I'm going to do a second video, a second version, and maybe try to whatever, I'm not entirely sure what happened. So hopefully this version will work. So anyway, so for those of you who don't know, Book Trek is a booktube reading event in which participants read Star Trek pastiche fiction during a given amount of time. I think the original Book Trek was the last 5 months of 2021 or so. I don't remember what Book Trek last year was. I don't even know if there was a Book Trek last year. But this year it's in the summer. So you can read all of Star Trek, like whatever Star Trek pastiche fiction you want to read over the course of the summer. And Steve Donahue has been making tag videos related to each series of the Star Trek franchise. So last month it was the original series. This month it is the Next Generation. Hopefully there will be further videos for DS9 and Voyager, and maybe some of the other series. Anyway, so let's get going. The Next Generation premiered in 1987 and for 7 years regularly racked up higher ratings than any other Star Trek franchise. What has been your relationship with this show? So, Star Trek The Next Generation is my Trek. This is a series that introduced me to Star Trek. It's the first one I ever watched and has really formed sort of the baseline of what Star Trek should be. And I've really gravitated to Star Trek post The Next Generation. So those series that have come after chronologically within the setting, I really enjoyed. So Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, those I like. I'm not particularly fond of the original series, and don't get me started on Enterprise, which really only kind of got good in its last season. And I haven't really watched the more recent Star Trek series, largely because I don't have Paramount Plus and I don't want to get it. Although I also don't really have much relationship with The Next Generation anymore because I haven't watched an episode of The Next Generation in years. It's been at least 10 years, maybe even longer than that. Actually, it's been a long time since I've watched any Star Trek, really, because it's been about 6 or 7 years since I wanted to do like a entire series watch of Voyager, and I did one of DS9 earlier than like before that. So it's been a long time. So really, right now, all I do with Star Trek is watch clips on YouTube. But anyway, so the Enterprise D, Picard's Enterprise, continues the epic adventures of James Kirk's Enterprise. Did you read Next Generation books as they were coming out? How have you read many of them since? I have never read any Star Trek pastiche fiction, whether it's Enterprise, whether it's the Next Generation or any others. I haven't. Moving on to the crew. The stellar bridge crew of the Enterprise D is far less human than that of the classic Enterprise. Do you deviate from the textbook human norm? In what ways are you some sort of circus sideshow freak? So, I don't have any implants or prosthetics or anything like that, but I am a Gorgon. My hair are actually snakes. Captain Jean-Luc Picard is a starship captain, but could easily have followed a different path and been a professor, an archeologist, etc. Do you have an idea of what your dream job would be? I would have loved to have been an English professor or a historian, or even a librarian of some form or other, and maybe an artist. But I think it would have been more of a English professor or historian more than the others, because I came to art relatively late. The library thing was kind of in reaction to my English professor dreams falling apart, and of course writing would have been a part of that. Will Riker, in his off hours, is unapologetically hedonistic. How much of a pleasure seeker are you? Have you ever done anything in Vegas that very much needed to stay in Vegas? So, I don't know exactly how much of a pleasure seeker I am. I don't think I'm particularly hedonistic. I'm probably very little hedonistic. Have I ever done anything in Vegas? I've never been to Vegas. But there was something in Portland, which is all I'm going to say. In the earlier version of this, I went into a bit more detail, but like there was an issue uploading it, so I'm trying to avoid any sort of things that could cause YouTube to sort of, have problems uploading this, and see if it was the content or whether it's YouTube's currently having an issue, which if you don't see this video, it might very well be YouTube's having an issue. Deanna Troy isn't a full telepath. How empathetic are you? I think I'm fairly empathetic. I'm a good ear. People like to talk to me. People like to rant to me. Dr. Crusher is the first Enterprise officer to serve with her own child. Have you ever, the much maligned Wesley Crusher, have you ever worked with one of your children, or could you, considering what pathetic losers they are? So I have no children. I have no intention of ever having children. So no. Data, who I do not really understand the appeal of. I've never really liked his character. Is a super sophisticated android, and yet he voluntarily keeps a cat. Do you also have this serious personal failing? No, I'm not particularly fond of cats, or dogs for that matter. I'm not really a pet person. And finally, the Enterprise D's bridge crew gradually develops an excellent chemistry. Have you ever had that kind of chemistry in a work environment? No, I have not. And I'm not really one person to really form that kind of camaraderie. So anyway, So let's see how long this took. Oh, this actually went a little bit longer than the last one. So that's positive. So anyway, BookTube, that was the next generation tag. If you'd like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. I'm going to now spend the rest of my afternoon trying to figure out what I'm going to read because my reading plans for this week have kind of gone to heck. So I've got like 3 days to free reading space, and I don't know what to fill it with. I mean, I guess I could do some poetry, or I could go through my writing books and art books and see if I still want to keep them and which ones I do want to keep, or something. I don't know. I will report back on Friday, which will include possibly a rant on Alice Munro. Do not understand the appeal of her. And also, I need to really think long and hard about my back to school reading project, which may open up my August reading plans. I made that same mistake in the last video. I wanted to say August and said April instead. Anyway, so hopefully this video will upload, and I will see you tomorrow with another video, which may be me having a hard look at my August reading plans. So any BookTube, whatever that video is, I will see you then. So until then, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.